What's up? How's it going, everybody? Today, this is going to be my Spanish 500-hour Spanish update. It's been pretty late, okay? A few months late because I think I did it just right before last year. It's been up and down. Let's just say that. So it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna be talking about my experiences and things like that. What's been going on. I'm gonna try to keep this a little short, so I'm gonna try to edit this video a lot more than I would normally would. So we're gonna see how it goes from there. This is going to be interesting because this has been the most turbulent part of the process for me. I've had issues with motivation, consistency, other goals that I've set as a result of my, I would call it success, even though I still suck. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, and I'm still kind of getting my way out, digging my way out, but I'm at a much better place than where I was in terms of consistency and motivation with me learning Spanish. I also had a plan to output the last time I did an update video. So I have been outputting. We're gonna dig more into that later. So I've definitely been outputting. And I'll let you know how I feel about it, where I'm at with output. I'm even show you a bit of output if I'm just not a complete failure at it. And even if I am, I'll still show you because I think it's important to document and note and all that. So no scripted output. We're gonna do that later today too. And so yeah, we're also going to get into my current strengths and where do I feel my level is, because it's definitely not. I'm not like even across the board, right? So we can definitely get into where my level is and how do I feel about it and all that. So it's gonna be a really interesting video. I'm gonna try to, like I said, chop it up and keep it succinct, so we don't have any issues. So I don't want this video to be like an hour long or something like that. So we're gonna do that. Okay. So first I want to apologize on my lack of consistency or my lack of an update video, which was a result of my lack of consistency. I didn't want to make an updated video in the middle of me not doing not doing anything. I wasn't doing absolutely zero. The fact that I have like my computer in Spanish, phone in Spanish, I would still read Solo Leveling because I don't read Solo Leveling to learn Spanish. I just read Solo Leveling because it's amazing and it just happens to be in Spanish. So I was still doing little stuff like that, but I wasn't actively sitting down to study Spanish. So for a couple months. So the lack of my consistency has stemmed from the fact that a lot of things have kind of changed in my life ever since late 2020 to pretty much up until now. A lot of things have been moving, a lot of moving parts, and as a result, I've also changed jobs, which is a big part because the job that I do now is very physical, it's very physically demanding, and it makes it difficult to want to do anything outside of that. At least on my work days, I have 3 off days, and as a result, I should be doing those those things, but I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a result of so many changing parts. Also, I decided to pick up a new habit, which has been weight loss. So I've been actually trying to lose weight. No, I have been losing weight. I can't say I've been trying to lose weight. I have lost weight. I haven't weighed myself today, but I know I've lost up to this point 55 pounds. I was at 284 pounds in December, and now in December of 2020, and now I am at 230 pounds, which was like a couple weeks ago. I actually lost most of that weight in, what month is it? April, May. I actually lost all the 55 pounds in May, and for the past like month and a half, 2 months, I've been just kind of chilling. I'm going to go from 230 to 190 or 185. I'm planning on losing 40 more pounds. But I'm kind of waiting because honestly it's too hot. When you combine that with my job and eating at a caloric deficit, I've tried it. I'd rather just wait till it cools down and start losing my weight again. But I'm still working out. I'm still working out every day. But I'm just not trying to lose weight. I'm eating eating at maintenance and just kind of doing that thing. So, but putting so much energy into losing weight has also knocked my Spanish off of balance, off kilter, I guess you could say. And so that's created a lot of inconsistency because whatever time, we're talking about cooking, preparing food, and then planning workouts, just doing all those things. It's just kind of like the little 30, 40 minutes I have. I'm just like, man, I just want to chill and just watch YouTube in English. Like, I don't really care. I think that has something to do with my relationship with Spanish and how I viewed Spanish. Because up until this point, I still view it as study. And it's been very difficult to break that habit of viewing Spanish, not viewing Spanish as like improving in Spanish, right? Like I think a big part of it is I need to view Spanish as things that I enjoy doing just in Spanish. And I know this is something like that's been well covered throughout the Rayfo community and MIA and all those ones before, right? Where it's important to, after a while, just realize that the language is something that you just have, you're just doing the things you like to do and it just happens to be in Spanish, right? It's obviously a little bit different because you gotta, getting comfortable and with you ambiguity and all that stuff is a whole nother thing because it's like you got to learn to enjoy the story, despite the fact that you don't understand everything 100%. That's a big part that I'm still kind of trying to tackle. Another interesting thing. So because of weight loss, do I feel bad about neglecting my Spanish because of my weight loss? No, no, not at all. I decided to pick up another habit. I've read Atomic Habits, which I read Atomic Habits a little while ago, and that's what actually helped me get on track with my Spanish. And so I tried to use it. Okay, Atomic Habits, use that again of picking up the habit and building it, poco a poco, little bit by bit, to get, to like a consistency and doing all that. I used Atomic Habits or the skill of developing a habit, to start to learn Spanish. And so now I'm doing the same thing. I decided, okay, why don't I do the same thing with weight loss? And so I did that. But the problem was like I started kind of my job combined with weight loss and all the things I had to learn, right? Because it's a little bit complicated, right? It was really difficult for me to fit in Spanish, even though I could have. I just didn't have the willpower to fit it in. I definitely could have fit it in. I just lacked the motivation to do it. So I don't regret it at all. It's because I'm losing weight. I look better. So I got a lot more weight to lose. So I'm not worried about the fact that I been pissing away the last 6 months or 7 months. I got my whole life to learn Spanish, right? I still want to learn it like within the next couple of years, but it's not the end of the world. I can always pick up and get back into Spanish and keep doing it. I just need to, and which I have been doing as of late. Not consistency. I'm still lacking the everyday consistency part of it, but it's definitely something that I don't regret at all. So yeah, no, definitely not. So yeah, I've had to really try and rebuild my habits of learning Spanish. I gotta stop saying studying Spanish. It adds a kind of connotation that I don't like. I had to really rebuild my habit of learning Spanish from the beginning, because when I first started, I had spent, months, and I had a really consistent habit. I was doing around 3 hours a day of studying Spanish. It all kind of broke and got destroyed. And so I had to, so now I'm in the process of having to rebuild it, where I lack motivation. Even if I wasn't really burnt out, I don't know. I had too many things. I had a lot of things that I was doing, a lot of things that were changing, a lot of things I was kind of stressed about. And so when you left me with my own time, when I did have an hour or two before the end of the day, the last thing I wanted to do was study Spanish, because now I kind of know I had had a bad mindset when relating to that. So yeah, no, I think I don't. It's something that I'll definitely have to still keep building. And I'm getting better at it. Now I'm kind of on the upswing, where my Spanish immersion has kind of been increasing as of late, and so I think I've figured it out. But no guarantees, no guarantees. Okay, now we're going to talk about my output plan. I had originally, just after the 400-hour update video I made, I detailed that I was going to start my output at the 500-hour mark, or the 500-hour update video, which is this video. I was going to start outputting and see how I went. Well, had problems. I live in Texas, and as a result, when we got snowed in for a couple weeks, I didn't have work. Luckily, I had water and electricity, unlike most people. And so I was like, well, I'm just cooped up in my house. I can't drive anywhere. There's snow, can't go anywhere. So screw it. I'm gonna start outputting. I'm at the 450-hour mark. It's a little early. And my plan was already a bit early for repo, because I'll say I'm at around a stage 2C. My comprehension isn't a level 5 in like native series. in native level series, my comprehension isn't at a level 5 yet. Around a level 4, sometimes dips to level 3, and intermittently dips between 3 and 4. But for the most part, it's a level 4, especially with dub content or other stuff. It's a bit early even for stage 3, but honestly, didn't really worry about getting to level 5. And I'm like, get to level 5. All I want to do, I didn't want to be amazing at output. My plan was going into it was to just gain a level of confidence in speaking, and not a high level of confidence. Just I didn't want to be scared of speaking, because when I learned Esperanto, I spoke from day one. The thing was, like, yeah, I ended up building a bunch of bad habits, and it took me like a year. Once I got fluent, it took me like a year of just watching everything I said in Esperanto and correcting everything I said wrong, or every English ism that I used. So I definitely am aware of all the negative side effects of early output. The thing is though, even though I sucked at Esperanto for a very long time, I still had confidence of speaking. You know what I mean? Like, even if I knew everything I was saying was wrong, it didn't matter. I just wanted to say, I had something to say. So or I can just at least open my mouth and not feel like, they're gonna kill me if I say the wrong word, kind of thing. So my plan was I just didn't want to be afraid of speaking. So that was my point. I wanted to speak enough to get all the kind of ugly bumps out, and get to get to a slightly, somewhat competent level, and then I'll be done with outputting, and I can keep improving my comprehension. Because the thing is, since I live in Texas, we got like, I think in Texas, like around 40% of the population of Texas is like is what, of Hispanic descent. You get into a lot of situations where the person that's next to you doesn't know English, or his English ability is very limited. So I ran into these situations, and I was terrified to speak. And I'm like, okay, I need to at least just get to the point where I can speak. I need to be able to say something, right? Like something, and not be terrified. So that was my plan, and that was the reason why I decided to output. So as a result, what I do with that output? So I did 2 weeks of Italki. We were snowed in. So every day, like 5 days. So I did like 20 lessons. Not achieving 20 lessons. I think it was more like 15. The first week I did every day for like 2 lessons a day. The second, I was exhausted and only did like maybe like 3 or 4 after that, because I was absolutely wrecked. Couldn't do it no more. Just because it was very stressful in the beginning. Just because you have all the words in your head, but you don't know how to actually put them in order and like release them. Like it feels so clunky, and it's not like a grammar rule. You just realize, dang, I can understand my tutor 100%, like 1,000%. He can explain everything to me, and I can understand him with ease, right? He can explain grammatical rules to me in Spanish. I can understand it with ease, but I can't speak. I was like, ah. So as a result, in the beginning, it was really more so output. Like I say, it was really more so input, because, and especially in those beginning lessons, like 90% of the time my teacher was talking and I was just listening. He was telling me funny stories, and at 10% I would try and say something, right? Now the ratio's changed a little bit. It's more like 60% my teacher talking, 40% I'm talking. Maybe a little bit, like maybe 70-30, something like that, right? Where I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I'm feeling a little bit, I want to add to this conversation. I think, there's this funny time where my brother did this, right? But it's not as fluent, obviously, as I'm saying in English. It's still pretty clunky, just because I've only put like 20 hours max into actually trying to output. And again, remember that ratio. So out of the 20 hours I've listed on the sheet, that's just accounting for the actual lesson at a time. But it's really only like a 70-30 kind of thing. So even less than that. Even though that I haven't outputted for very long, I think it's actually very good. Pretty good for given how few hours of output I've actually put into it. So I think that's what I think. I think I'm glad I did it. I still suck. My output is terrible, but I have more confidence when I'm speaking, and I've actually had several, or at least probably around around a dozen moments where I've actually helped native Spanish speakers that didn't know English, right? Normally when that would happen, I would just be like, sorry man, no hablo Espanol, right? But now it's like, oh, okay, señor, okay, necesitas ayuda, algo así, okay, bueno, and kind of thing like that, where it's like, cool, I can kind of help someone out when in the gas station or wherever you find people who maybe are lost or something like this. Someone lost their keys. I was like, okay, then and I was trying to kind of translate, and so, like something like that. Like, I think it was worth it, even if just for that. So now I can actually help people out. Now we're going to talk about where my comprehension is, which is clearly the best, my strongest attribute, I guess. I would say honestly, if we had to compare it to the CFR, I would say I'm around like a B2 in comprehension. I would say I'm B2, strong B2 in comprehension. Problem is, I still have trouble understanding natives. It depends on the native. Some natives I can understand easily. We can converse and no problem. Other natives, especially now when they're wearing masks and something like this, yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there, especially in restaurants, because a lot of things the natives say are like pre-baked, right? So, oh, sir, you need to know. It's like, and so they throw it out way faster than they normally would if they were like asking a specific question. You know what I mean? So it's like pre-baked and it really comes out really quick. Plus, they're wearing the mask. Creates a lot of problems for me. So natives can still be tricky. Natives talking with them in between themselves can be tricky, especially because you don't know the context of it, and so you're just listening, and yeah, it's tough. But if they're talking to me, it's like, oh, okay, I understand. But then they might be slowing it down a little bit. I've been getting a lot of compliments from my Spanish speaking friends and family members. Not family members meaning my brother married a Mexican, or two of my brothers married Mexican women, so I have other half that's a Mexican family, but that doesn't mean that I'm Mexican. I'm not technically. My granddad on my dad's side was a Spaniard, but everybody else is black, so I guess it kind of, yeah, and no one speaks Spanish. So he was the only one that spoke Spanish. Everyone else, no. So that's why I might look a little like I got a little something. But yeah, so in terms of my comprehension, in terms of the levels of comprehension, I would say I'm more or less level 4, solid level 4 when I'm watching YouTube videos. If I'm familiar with the topic, almost set them when I'm familiar with the topic, stuff like that. More or less, I'm level 4. Dub content 4, often a level 5, but I don't know. It depends. When they start talking about like power systems, because I watch a lot of anime in Spanish. When it gets into, when I'm watching a new anime and they're talking about the power systems, and if they're like a little complicated, it gets a little tricky. I'm like, I have to pull up subtitles and do all that. So that's my level of comprehension. More or less, I need to get to level 5. I know technically you want to get to level 5 before you go enter stage 3. That's why I still say I'm stage 2C. But I don't know, man. Sometimes my comprehension surprises me. I don't read that much. I should read more. I'll show you a little bit on my computer. I should read more, but yeah, my level oftentimes surprises me. And then I'm also humbled. So it's like one day I'm super hyped, super confident because I'm like understanding all this stuff. Find a new YouTuber that was difficult to understand, and after like, I don't know, a couple hours, I'm like, oh yeah, I understand them easily. And it's like, what? I'm watching this like science documentary and I understand everything, even though I was already familiar with the topic. So a lot of it was a review. I'm like, oh, I'm so amazing. And then, or not, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. I can understand all this stuff. I can do all these things. And then I go to like a restaurant, it's a Mexican restaurant. And I'm just like, ¿cómo? When I can't understand the waitress. And I'm like, oh, I suck. I'm a failure. It's like, ah. Or my brother's girlfriend's cousin will she's really supportive and she tries to talk to me in Spanish. I'm just like, I'll understand, but I'm still feel bad because I know she's like clearing up her speech, because when she talks to her sister, I'm just like, it's completely different than when she's talking to me directly. I'm like, oh, come on. Yeah. So I still lack confidence in life when I'm on the spot like that, but for the most part, I don't know. It's just this endless cycle of feeling like a beast and then like feeling like a failure. It's like you just get humbled 24/7. So by the time you get up there at the end and you actually are really good, you still are like, nah, I'm nothing, because you've been humbled so many times that you becomes habit. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like a never-ending thing. It feels like it's gonna. It's like, it feels like you're just in the ocean and you're just swimming hoping that you'll get there, but you can't see land in all directions, right? You're just in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. You're just swimming, just hoping that you're gonna get there, because you don't notice progress. You don't even notice you're moving. You just feel like you're just flailing your arms. That's kind of how I feel. Ahora quiero hablar un poco en español para mostrarte mi progreso en el idioma. Pero no significa que pueda hablar bien o que pueda hablar con fluidez o, no, o sea, que, no sé, me siento, ¿cómo se dice? El hecho que yo alcancé a este nivel me pone orgulloso, no sé, me siento muy, muy orgulloso por el hecho eh, yo, que yo, que yo no vi ir, no sé, que no puedo hablar para nada. Es muy interesante, es importante porque tú veas mi nivel y qué bueno o malo que yo sea. No sé. El subjuntivo es el diablo. Eso a lo que quiero decir. No me gusta el subjuntivo. No sé, es más fácil ahora que era en el pasado, pero no importa. Eh, simplemente tengo que notarlo. Simplemente tengo que notarlo. Pero no sé. No sé cuántas horas necesito para mejorar mi nivel o que el flujo de mi habla, no sé nada, no sé nada. Em, pero no, es muy interesante el proceso del aprendizaje, pero cuando comenzaba a aprender este idioma, creí que después de 500 horas de aprendizaje, yo pensé que a este punto, después de 500 horas de estudio, yo creí eh, que, que yo estaría mejor. No sé, los verbos, no sé cómo conjugar. No, yo pensaría que estaría, que estaría mejor que ahora. No sé, no puedo decir nada. Eh, ¿Qué es lo que quiero decir? No sé. Practicaba mucho en mi pronunciación antes de comenzar a hablar. Creo que eso es muy importante para mí, tener un buen... Eh, no sé, yo practicaba mucho en mi pronunciación, y creo, desde mi punto de vista, tener un acento bueno es muy importante para mí. Y no, pues básicamente el proceso es muy largo, el camino es muy largo, toma mucho tiempo y necesito un montón de trabajo. Y no sé qué más. Prefiero no hablar, pero sí. ¿Cómo puedes ver? ¿Cómo puedes ver? Sí. ¿Cómo pueden ver? Supongo que hay muchos. Em, pero ¿cómo puedes ver? Puedo hablar, puedo expresar las cosas requeridos para resolver una situación, pero no puedo comunicar fácilmente con los otros hispanohablantes. Pero no importa porque prefiero no hablar antes de que puedo entender todo perfectamente o antes de que alcanzaré a un nivel que es bastante alto. Prefiero no hablar si puedo, pero ¿y qué más? No sé. em, tengo que esforzarme más para lograr hacer bilingüe o para decir que puedo hablar español. Sí puedo hablar, pero no, no es perfecto, obviamente. Pero obviamente los nativos no son perfectos. Pero, sin embargo, no sé, muévete. Hay una... Muévete de mi cámara. Ok. Obviamente el proceso no es fácil y el problema es que no sé qué debo hacer, qué debo decir, pero ya puedes ver que mi español no sea perfecto, no sea bueno a mí, no sé, no sé. Em, Oye, quiero decir que el hecho que mi pronunciación es decente, muchos hispanohablantes creían que, que mi nivel es más alto que mi nivel sea más alto cuando en realidad no es, o no eres, no sé, uno de ellos. Eh, a menudo mi acento esconder el hecho que mi nivel no es alto. No sé. ¿Cómo puedes ver? Hay muchas palabras en mi mente y creo que mi vocabulario es bastante decente o bastante bueno, pero en realidad no. Pero el problema es que tengo las palabras en mi mente, pero no sé cómo sacarlas en una frase correcta o en una frase adecuada que tiene las cositas o las palabritas en el lugar correcto. Eso es el problema. No puedo, cuando mueves mi boca, cuando muevo mi boca, cuando muevo la boca, no puedo, estoy acostumbrado a decir las cosas porque me he practicado mi pronunciación mucho, pero eso no significa que tiene el conocimiento. Supongo que es algo que es subconsciente. Es algo que es en el fondo del cerebro que no me di cuenta de que tengo que hacer otras cosas o decir tengo que decir o que el proceso es subconsciente o subconscientemente desarrollando tu capacidad de hablar. Pero no sé cuántas horas toman o llevan para, no, para notar la diferencia. Eh, También es algo que es muy interesante. Ahora no tengo que traducir para nada. Es algo que es muy natural, que cuando pienso no es como, ok, ¿cuál es esta palabra en inglés? Ok, tengo que traducirla en español. No es eso. No tengo que traducir, pero sí tengo que pensar en cómo salir, y cómo la frase terminé, o que tengo que pensar, no sé, es algo complicado. Estoy vigilando la manera de estoy vigilando mis palabras y trato de corregirlas antes de salir de mi boca. Pero no sé, es algo que es muy difícil. Eh, pero espero que algún día puedo comunicar fácilmente a los otros hispanohablantes, a los hispanohablantes y todo eso. Pero ok, creo que eso es todo que quiero mostrarte de mi español. Por supuesto es muy malo, pero aún me pone orgulloso porque me siento que yo gastaba mucho de mi tiempo y muchas horas en aprender a hablar Ahora este es mi nivel después de 20 horas de práctica. Y a mí es algo que es muy impresionante, ¿no? El hecho que puedo hablar, no puedo decir fácilmente, pero sí ya puedo hablar eh, normalmente o que puedo expresarme eh, más o menos a los hispanohablantes y cuando me encontré un problema o un aprieto, aprieto, sí, o en un aprieto y las otras personas no saben inglés, es algo que es bastante bueno el hecho que puedo comunicar y resolver las situaciones difíciles que cuando me encontré a una situación así. Así que es algo que es muy interesante. Ok, ahora ya terminé con español y todo eso. Ok. All right. So yeah, we're done with that. I don't know. Try to speak Spanish. That's my output. You see, however you is. I don't know if I want to even subtitle it because the problem with subtitles is you put subtitles right over. So you take broken Spanish, but then you subtitle it in native English, right? Because you're subtitling it for English because you're a native speaker, more likely you're native. So people read that and attribute, oh, so that you're saying all of this, or you're saying it in such a coherent manner like this, and it's like, no, it's way more broken than that. So I'm not even sure if I want to even put subtitles. I probably will have to, just because, a lot of people watch it that don't actually know Spanish. As a result of my Spanish, I've been getting a lot more compliments from my native Spanish speaking friends. And so that's been cool. But I don't know. It's like bittersweet because it's like, yeah, I don't know. You still feel terrible either way it goes. But good thing is with my Spanish and Esperanto, I don't mix them, right? So it's a really good thing. So I used to mix my Spanish and Esperanto all the time, right? Por ejemplo, nun, que mi prosa vi Esperante, vivi nun povas kompreni vi ne komprenas la Esperanto. Sed que mi prosa vi en Esperanto, mi ne uzas hispanaj vortoj. Sed estontece tiu ofte okazas, tiu ĉiam okazas. Mi ofte uzas Esperanton aŭ ofte kiam mi pensas pri io en Esperanto, mi ofte elĵetas la hispanaj vortoj aŭ preskaŭ uzi ĝin, se mi devis halti min antaŭ ol mi uzi ĝin. Okay? I got to subtitle that too. Obviously, you can hear the difference in level between my Esperanto and my Spanish. But in that entire sentence, I didn't even hesitate to use a Spanish word, which is crazy. That wouldn't have happened before. Especially the fact that I just did Spanish, right? My brain would have. I think probably it helped because I use English in between. But even when I was speaking Spanish, I wasn't really thinking of Esperanto words, which didn't happen either. I used to always use Spanish words or mix up Spanish and Esperanto, but gradually it's changed. And so I think that's like really good sign. The fact that I don't use Spanish, I don't mix them up anymore nearly as much. Obviously, sometimes will happen. My plan now, so now I'm kind of like where my output is at. Yeah, it's not good, right? It's not good, but I didn't want it to be good. That wasn't my plan, right? My plan was to spend a few hours, get to around, I want to get to like a B1 level, and then like a rough B1 level of output, and then just, finish that off. Like, okay, not going to do that. Now I'm just going to work on my comprehension from this point on. So that was kind of the plan, was that. And so that I feel like I've gotten there. So that's kind of my plan now. Now I want to actually get my comprehension up to like a level 5 and just kind of chill on output. Obviously, I still find myself in situations where I'm with people that don't speak English. So I'm gonna have to kind of switch it up. I'm gonna use it more practically, but I'm not gonna. And so yeah, so I feel like my comprehension is like solid B2, and my listening, or no, my comprehension is around solid B2, upper B2, somewhere in that area. My speaking is at like a B1, right? No, yeah, rough B1, right? I don't. Reading is probably somewhere around where my listening is, but I feel like my listening is a lot better than my reading. But I can definitely read. I can read smoothly, and I can read out loud because that's how I practice my pronunciation. I would read out loud very slowly, pronouncing all the letters, all the words with the right tone, and yeah. So that's how, and I can read out loud and understand what I'm reading as I'm reading out loud, like So I feel like my reading is actually pretty good. It's just, and I can read YouTube comments like pretty easily. So it's funny, even when I'm talking now, I'm I feel the Spanish words popping in my head, right? I was gonna say like con facilidad, before. So it's like when I'm talking to you, I gotta like stop, not use Spanish, and and so I feel like that's a good sign too. Comprehend my current weaknesses and missteps. Definitely having problems with comprehension. It's just too inconsistent. One moment, like I said, I'm understanding everything, 100%, es muy fácil, sí, entiendo todo, pero el siguiente momento no entendí nada, me siento como un fracaso y todo eso, pero sí. Um, so I don't know, but you can see like when I just code switch, it's so easy I have to try to not code switch because it feels really easy to, which again, I feel like it's a good thing. Yeah, my comprehension is still miles away from being effortless. It's significantly easier than it was before, but it doesn't, like, it used to take me 100% of my focus to understand like 90% of what's being said. Now it takes me like 60% of my focus to understand like, or not even 100% of the content. Like, let's say if it's a piece of content that I can't understand 100%, it used to take me 100% of my mental energy to understand that. Now it's more like 60%. So I can actually like turn away and click on something while I'm still listening and still like hear, right? Now I can't like play a video game and listen because I'm not gonna understand anything because I can barely remember to listen to it in English, right? Well, nah, I can do it. It depends on the video game, but for the most part you can do that. So I don't know. Comprehension still lacking. That's the part where it feels like like a disaster because it's like, oh my, it's so many words. But then there's not even that. It's even the basic words, right? There's so many inflections and nuance in the basic words that I'm still not even familiar with all of them. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I'm familiar with like let's say a basic word like maybe llevar or llegar is pretty easy. But like, I don't know, tomar, tocar, llevar, right? Let's say there's like 15 subtle inflections of definitions, right? I might have the top 8 down, right? Where they're acquired, right? They're subconscious. I understand them when I hear them, but I'm still getting like the bottom 6 because they don't come up often enough. And so when they do, and people when they do come up in speech, I'm like, I'm like, whoa. I know what he technically said, but I still don't get it. And so I still have those moments where, and with the most simple words too, it's not like some super complicated word. It's always like the super simple ones. It's like, okay, okay, especially when they're in phrases. There was one I seen. It was a word. It was a phrase. Si por fuera caso. It's something like that. Si por fuera caso. Something like that where for some reason it didn't make sense. I knew all the words, but it didn't make any sense. Also, when my brain isn't expecting Spanish to be used, like pretty much you can omit the first whatever, like pretty much the first thing you said or the first sentence you said is going to be completely omitted or completely not heard. Even if you said something that's really comprehensible, like if I'm just talking in English and someone says something in Spanish, like that I wasn't expecting it, like my brain wasn't like ready, like turned on or ready to receive Spanish yet. So it's like, I'm like, huh? ¿Cómo? So I also feel like my vocabulary is getting really good. The only thing is nouns. So like household items, certain things that like, because like depending on your content, right? There's gonna be big holes in your content based on, you know, what you're saying. So I mean, obviously you got some basic stuff like cama, mesa, la pared, stuff like that. But there's other stuff that are like hangers. Like I don't know how to say hangers. Or like, reloj, yeah, no, taza, o vaso. I don't know. There's cupboard. Like I don't want to say cupboard, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, there's holes in and when it comes to nouns, food too. Food's a big thing. Like I don't watch anything like with cooking or anything like that. So yeah, big holes in food. So I still have a lot of holes, and it's definitely not well-rounded. Also, I want to cover this thing going around, this like reading dominant versus listening dominant, I guess. And I guess I might as well chime in because I'm going to show you on my computer in a little bit. But yeah, reading dominant or listening, I would say like people were describing that they have to picture the way the word's spelled and things. I'm like, I've definitely never ran into that. Like I don't, when someone's speaking to me in Spanish, I don't think of anything. I just listen to understand, right? Nothing pops up in my head. But I also refrain from even looking at a single word. When I was learning Spanish, I said, okay, I'm gonna input, I'm gonna immerse, I'm gonna immerse, and for like the first 4 or 5 months, I'm not gonna even look up a single word in Spanish. I don't know how nothing's spelled. There, I won't put any subtitles. I'll just watch Spanish. I'll sentence mine, which is very difficult when you don't know how things are spelled, right? I just looked up the alphabet to see how it worked, but then that's it. So I refrained from looking up any words. I use Pimsleur too, mainly for pronunciation practice. It wasn't to actually learn anything. It was merely, I would just take what this sentence she said, pause it, and just practice that sentence all the time, right, with pronunciation. And then I would just listen, watch movies, shows that didn't have subtitles anyway. And so we did that for the first 4 or 5 months. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to try and learn to read, or to learn to, yeah, learn to read and do all that. And so then it was really weird because all these words I've been hearing, right, my comprehension was still terrible, like 2 at best. But I was like, all these words I had learned, like también. I was like, oh, that's how you spell también? Like, oh my, oh, hacer has an H in front of it? What? That's weird. What? Oh, okay, so the H is silent. Oh, I'm like, I had to learn all of this. And then the accent marks were kind of weird, but then, but it was that kind of thing. I had to learn like mas, and oh well, camera just changed the whole the color. Hopefully it's not too distracting. But yeah, so like, I mean, I guess that might have helped where I built an association with just the way the words are said. Yeah, like I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I found it interesting though. I was like, I don't know. I need to read more though, but like, I guess now it's a good time to read more. Now they're kind of scaring me. Like, wait, what? What's happening? But I don't know. So that was interesting. I just understand the language. If there's no reading, there's no translating, there's nothing. You just kind of understand it, or you either understand it or you don't at all. Like there's an on or off. Oh, I need to talk about Anki. Oh my God, Anki. Haven't been doing Anki. Obviously, if I've been struggling with motivation and things like that, I'm definitely not gonna be doing Anki. But now, yeah, definitely not doing Anki because I don't know. It makes it I don't know, man. Anki's hard. That sounded. I know I'm not making any sense. It's easy, but it's hard. It only takes 15 minutes a day, tops, and I have like a 97% retention rate because I guess Spanish is like pretty easy when it comes to retention rate. It's not like kanji. It doesn't have multiple readings. Anki's easy. I'm sure Anki is very important. But yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm trying to just rebuild my immersion habit. Anki's gonna come later, if it ever comes. Because honestly, at first I really liked Anki. Anki was really dope. I felt like, because I think Anki made me still feel like I was studying something, right? Because you have to like, you feel like this immersion thing. Like, this isn't study. This isn't real study, right? So you have to do Anki. Because Anki was like my way of, actually studying the language. And then the immersion was something else. And so, but now over time, it's like, no. Even though I understood immersion was important and I was actually learning the immersion, I understood the method. It was just Anki still made me feel like I was scratching that high school Spanish itch. And so, but now it's like, I don't know, man. I'm sure it would. I know it would help because it would help. But like, I don't know. So I haven't done Anki in like 3 months. I haven't logged into the app in like 3 months. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Once I get my Spanish habit more consistent, things like that, definitely gonna make it happen. I'm definitely gonna get Anki situated. But I might not ever use Anki again. Who knows? I mean, I can already understand Spanish and I can improve from there. I just need to, immerse more. Also, I thought at $500 I'll be way better than I am currently. I'm still pretty good, right? Comparatively, I guess, to anybody that your typical person that takes classes to learn Spanish, right? Even, oh shoot, my teacher said this too. He said, the fact that I can speak to you like fully, like not slowing down, not doing anything, I can make jokes, I can speak to you comfortably and not have to switch up my speech. He's like, it's actually really impressive because he still takes lessons, but he has a student that mastered in Spanish, has a master's degree in Spanish, and he has to he has to talk to him very differently than he normally would, right? He has to refrain from using the subjunctive because he gets confused or stuff like that, and it's just like, I was like, oh wow, So he spent like 6 years learning Spanish. I mean, okay, cool. Yeah. So I mean, I feel really good about where my level's at. I just need to get better. I still feel like I suck, obviously. I said my comprehension is getting really good, but still a lot of gray spots. So I'll say four at best. So I don't know. Sometimes like Mr. Solis. Mr. Solis is somebody I listen to a lot. So he's at like a level 5 99% of the time. Like, I understand Mr. Solis pretty easily. Um, if y'all don't know who Mr. Solis is, Mr. Solis is a YouTuber who's very big on comprehensible input. And so anyway, yeah, I understand him very well, 100%. Rarely have a situation where I don't understand him. But then there's another YouTuber where it's like, yeah, I'm at like a 3 at best with them. So it just depends, and it all that's the thing. I hate it. Just depends on everything. So that's the problem. So comprehension is rough. I mean, comprehension is good, but still needs a lot of work. Output is rough, but it's at a point where I like it, and it's where I can actually help people. And then writing, I don't fucking know. I've never written anything. I've typed a few comments, and people, but that's about it. I feel like I don't have enough confidence in my grammar to know if this is correct. Some people said in the comments that they didn't even notice I was not a native speaker. I was like, bro, I typed like one sentence. Like, how would you not know? But I don't know. I mean, how would you know? I only typed like one sentence. Okay, so I want to go show you guys a few things. Obviously, it's going to be my stats going to be right here. As you can see, I have 552 total active immersion hours. My active immersion hours are pretty much watching stuff with my full attention or listening, like watching a podcast or a video, anything like that. So you can see my total active all time. So 366 active, 135 passive, 165. Here you can see my quarters. This is like the quarters, the years divided in quarters. So you can see Q1, what my time was. It wasn't very well. It's a lot lower than it used to be, but it was not that bad. Q2 is terrible. Q2 I had like less than 50 hours of all the immersion and like all my quarters. So I'm already looking like I'm doing better than that in Q3. So yeah, I'm trying to ramp it up and for Q3 and Q4, and we'll see how I go. You can see my ratio of active immersion, reading. This is reading, and blue is passive. Obviously, it corresponds with the colors up there. These are also the days that it took me to hit each hour, so let me know about my pace. So yeah. So that's pretty much all those stats. You can even see a while ago, if I go through my stats, these are in minutes, so obviously the amount of hours I've done it per minutes. Here's when I hit 500 hours. It's, what is that? January, February, March, April, May, June 14th. So I hit 500 hours officially, and that was like 3 months ago. So yeah, this video's well overdue. But yeah, so this is my total time up until this point. Obviously, I have 2020 stats as well. Let's keep track of. And you can see my immersion breakdown for the year 2020. So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much that's all that is for here. So now you can see my shows of all the things that I watch. If it's in blue, it's native content. If it's black, it's a dubbed. It's dubbed. As you can see, I still watch a lot of dubbed. Let me see. If it's crossed out, I'm pretty much done with it. I've already watched it, or I'm just over it. Don't want to see it again. Also, this means I've watched it multiple times if it's in brackets. Obviously, the number of corresponding with the number of times I've watched it. Um, yeah. So just scrolling through the list. Comics, solo leveling. Got it. Yep, yep. Also light novel volumes. I'm not sure if I even updated this. I might be a little further than that, but no, I think that's up to date. I'm about halfway through volume 3 or whatever. Um, so yeah, and I still haven't even done Anki. It won't even let me open it because I haven't opened Anki in so long. But my stats are going to be pretty similar to where they were last time. Okay, the last thing I want to show y'all is in Crunchyroll. You can't view subtitles and watch anime, but you can have two different windows up. And funny enough, the subtitles match pretty close to what they're saying. And 9 times out of 10, it matches. It's one for one. So for more new shows, so here's Crunchyroll. go to lists. I have all the anime that are dubbed in Crunchyroll, 34 so far. I have them added. But what you can do, I just open up that page, so you can have it dubbed in Spanish. Guess we could do, I don't know, you just click on the episode, whatever. All right, so this one's dubbed. Then you go to the same page, but change it to the normal one, Japanese version. Then you go to, should I already have Spanish subs? Yeah. And I usually mute the tab or just mute it so I don't hear that, right? And I have one on one side and one, you know, I have a double monitors. Oh, yes it does. Okay, well I'll just mute this.
Sí, los tiene bastante grandes. Rebotan cuando corre.
What are you saying? Grandes rebotan cuando. ¿Sí?
Comprendo por... Sí, los tiene bastante grandes. Rebotan cuando corre.
See, for Crunchyroll, I'm guessing since they sub it and dub it pretty closely, I don't know. They seem to follow it pretty closely. There's times where they differ a little bit, but not for the most part you can't. So I have two monitors, so I have the dubbed on the first monitor and the subbed on the second monitor, and a smaller page just so I can double check it. So yeah, that's usually how I've been doing it, so I can watch.
Comprendo por qué lo hiciste, Yoshino.
See, it's like basically matching it one for one, and it does that for like the vast majority of the subs. So that's one way you can easily watch subs and dubs. So yeah, that's all I want to show you guys. So yeah, you can do this too, not just for Spanish. I mean, anytime they have a dub, you can go to the Japanese version. All right, guys, thank you very much. Glad you seen this lesson, this update video of 500 hours. I'll see you at 600. Screw it, I'm gonna do it at 600 hours. Wasn't sure about it first. Screw it, we're gonna do it like that. And so yeah, catch you guys later.